Infamous. Actually, pause real quick. I need to correct myself. Last week I said that Infamous was an Insomniac game. It's not. It's a Sucker Punch game, and I caught myself as I was editing. I am so sorry. I'm an idiot.
I didn't even notice. The
Ghost of Tsushima people made Infamous, not the Spider-Man Ratchet and Clank people. Hi, Emily.
Hi. Oh my gosh, it's too close, and I look.
Dude, we just went over this.
Yeah, but it didn't look. It didn't look this close and blurry before.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Hold on. I know exactly what to tell me.
I don't know what to tell. Oh my. I'm not even doing this. She gave herself control.
Why is it so blurry?
I don't know. Maybe not enough light.
It's not blurry on my screen. My screen's not that blurry.
I have no idea. If I could be real with you. I think it's blurry because you're using the camera through one app and then translating that through another app. So that's going to diminish quality somewhat. What?
He looked bad. He looked okay. He looked okay before. I spent so much time making it look okay.
If you funnel anything through two separate channels, it's gonna diminish in quality. Video is fickle. Because technically, it's funneling through your OBS to your Discord, and then from Discord to my OBS. So it's funneling 3 times. What?
Bueno. Hi, friends.
Hi. Okay. Welcome. This is the first official Podstation 64 podcast, but it's episode 13 overall.
It is. It is. And as you can tell, we're 13 episodes into the podcast and we still haven't figured out the cameras and all the thingies. I'm still half out of frame, you know?
You know what's worse that I didn't even think of until just now? We're on episode 13. And the episode we initially had planned that we didn't set up would have been perfect for episode 13 because it's spoopy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But we just didn't do it.
Because
we just didn't do it.
We suck. Damn it.
You know, maybe one day we'll be like competent podcasters.
I don't know.
I don't think that's the day today, but like
I have a new method.
I continue messing with this.
I have a new method to try next week.
Ooh, what's that?
We're gonna try OBS Ninja next week.
Frick is OBS Ninja?
Essentially,
wouldn't it be going through the same amount of channels, like even more so?
It'd only be going through OBS. It'd be going through the OBS Ninja website, then as a browser source. So technically, only one channel. We'd go down to one channel.
All right. I just can't get over the discrepancy that it does just look really good on my computer and then just looks so blurry on this computer.
Dude, technology's weird. Tech is weird.
I hate it. I'm trying to make it refit the screen though. So
today's topic is not a top 5 list for the first time in 5 ever, even though we almost did one of those.
Glad we did. We've done a little too many of them recently.
But today's list is a big news story, but we're going to cover some other news stories first. And I want to knock them out real quick because I'm going to get heated on this topic, and I could probably talk for 5 hours on this topic.
You literally told me 20 minutes ago, you were like, you're going to have to do most of the talking tonight because I'm so sickies.
Yeah, but then I thought about it, and you picked the one thing. No, we even talked about it. You picked the one thing you knew I couldn't shut up about.
Well, I didn't really pick it. It kind of fell into our lap.
It kind of did.
I thought I was going to sneeze, and I didn't.
First, we're going to talk some news stories.
No, wait. Before we talk about the news stories.
Yes.
What's happening? What are you doing?
What do you mean? Oh,
you went to screen share and it came over my face.
Yeah, I was wording, please. I'm going to share my.
Are you 5?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen with you for the news stories.
Okay, but first.
Yes.
My nails are the color of Podstation 64.
That was totally
Hold on.
an
Let
accident.
me move them further back so you can see them.
Please note, if we ever do the podcast live in person in Michigan or here, I will paint my nails the same color.
Just really love this nail polish color. And I told you, I just picked it out yesterday. I didn't even think about it. And I was like, I'm just really feeling this color in the club tonight.
Do you own it or did you go to a salon?
Oh, I never go to a salon.
Oh.
Why would I pay people money to do my nails when I can do my nails on my own?
Couldn't be
free.
You have the same logic as me. Could not be my wife.
Also, I hate going to nail salons. I hate going in and like sitting down and just sitting with this person I don't know, and they're like performing like a service for me, and it's just uncomfortable. It's really uncomfortable.
If I could
I don't care for it.
If I could do all the stuff myself, I would. Like if I could cut my own hair, I would do it.
Yeah, me too.
But,
I can't though.
Yeah,
I can't color my own hair either.
Every time
you gotta color it.
Every time I go get a haircut, Allison asks me if I'm going to get a beard trim, which is $15 more. I'm like, no, I can just do it at home for free. Now, if he offers, if he has time, he offers and he does it for free, and then I'll let him. But like in general, I'm just gonna do it myself.
That's the better way.
Yeah. Anywho, okay. Now I'm going to share my screen for some news stories. Oh, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Okay, you should be able to see my screen now, though.
I can.
Okay, cool. The first one is a little pettiness. Remedy and Rockstar, who work together on the Max Payne games, are coming after each other because Remedy changed their logo. Instead of being an R with a bullet, they changed it to an R that's breaking out. And Rockstar says, hey, that could be mistaken for the Rockstar R. Which, no.
Same energy as like Monster Energy drinks saying anything that has the word monster in it and being like, but how will people be able to tell the difference between our Monster Energy drink and your video game that has the word monsters in it?
Like, I can tell. One, the word remedy is right underneath it. Oh, yeah, you guys can't see.
Like my nose is stuffed.
Yeah, there we go. That's better. The word remedy is right underneath it. It's
right there.
It's not even close. So
it's a different color. It's a different font. Like the Remedy R is being broken 3 times. It's a different color. The word Remedy is written. Also doesn't have the star.
It doesn't make any sense.
They're completely different logos.
And the fact that they work together and Take-Two owns Rockstar, and Take-Two's like, we're gonna go after this company that we work very closely with.
It's just so odd. There must have been some kind of beef there.
It's very stupid. I hate it.
They were like, how can we nuke this relationship without being... It's like when you want to like end a friendship or a relationship and you don't want to have like a real adult conversation about it, so you just find some like alternative way to start a fight and nuke it all on its own. Be like, right, well, I guess we don't have to be friends anymore. Or like, what if we sued them and just said that our things were too close?
Anywho,
that's stupid. That's really stupid.
I really hate it. I did it for the pettiness. I chose the story for the pettiness. Next story is more of just good news. Humble Bundle. If you don't know what Humble Bundle is, it's great for Steam owners. You can get a whole bunch of games for dirt cheap. They're doing $10 bundle for awesome games done fast. $10 is pretty much the lowest they'll go usually. But you get Bayonetta, Borderlands 2, Celeste, Sonic Adventure 2, and the DLC battle. A whole bunch of these games. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 6, 7 games for $10. Like you get things for really, really cheap.
That's cool.
It is awesome games done quick week. They do it multiple times a year. But whenever they do it, you get good things. Plus, Humble Bundle, if you play things on Steam, they give most of their money to charity. They're a good organization. Really,
I didn't know about this.
Yeah. Oh, Humble Bundle is great. That's why my Steam library has so many games in it. Because I bought a lot of Humble Bundles when I started on Steam, so I could save money. So if you're looking, and just to show you real quick, as you're looking, like you can buy, they have different, they have book bundles, they have game bundles, they have software bundles, they have a whole bunch of different bundles you can look at. So
cool.
Last story, and it also has to do with awesome games done quick, and it's very tailored towards Emily.
Okay.
You can watch this dog, Peanut Butter, speedrun an NES game live. It was yesterday. But Peanut Butter...
I missed it. Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't know until today.
Why didn't you tell me yesterday?
I didn't know until today. Peanut Butter the dog, with his assisted human, like he obviously didn't do it himself, but Peanut Butter the dog sped run an NES game called Gyromite at Awesome Games Done Quick.
I can't believe I missed it.
I mean, here's some video of it right here. Like...
Good dog.
See? Look at that.
Boy.
That was not yesterday. That was last year. But yeah, this dog speedruns video games.
I love him.
I figured you would. That's why I picked it. Peanut Butter is the best Shiba Inu. Is that a Shiba Inu? Am I right?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Okay. Apparently, with this specific game, there's one other dog speedrunner that they are competing against every time they do it.
There's a competition. There's more than one dog speedrunner in the world.
There is doggy beef. This is the greatest thing to ever come up, ever. So,
I love that.
okay, now on to...
Should we...
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, should we move into our topic for this week?
Well, yeah, because that's the end of my news stories. But this last one, I'll let Emily introduce this, because this is technically a news story that broke Monday. I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
Monday or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday. It's pretty recent. So, an Ubisoft executive
Hold on, we lost her.
did an interview. And I should note, before we go any further, this Ubisoft executive is directly in charge of their, like, digital subscription content and media. So the things he's saying are probably very biased toward that because that's his role and position. This does not necessarily reflect the views of Ubisoft as a whole.
If he hold on. If he's saying that's what he is at the company, then anyway, I'll let you continue and then I'll go on.
I mean, like, it probably is, but I'm also making the argument that it's his specific role. So he's gonna, like, be more pushing for it and more passionate about it than maybe other people in the company. But essentially, an Ubisoft executive was quoted in an interview as saying that basically digital media was going to take over at one point, and it was lagging behind the takeover of DVDs and music and other, like, entertainment medias, but that eventually it was still going to continue down that trend. But in order to that to be fully realized and to make that happen, gamers needed to, quote, get used to not owning their games, end quote. And I do think it was taken a little out of context. Because I don't think he's saying, hey gamers, why would you want to own games? I think he's saying, in order for streaming games to take off, in order for digital games to take off, that needs to happen. And I don't think he's necessarily wrong. I think that does, if you're going to build this industry now on digital gaming and streaming, which I'm not saying we should do that, but I'm saying that's what they're aiming for, the gamers do that. In order for that to happen, gamers are going to have to get comfortable not owning the games the same way we've gotten comfortable not owning our TV shows and not owning our DVDs or our music.
I'm making a lot of faces that I'm just holding back the cringe and the disdain. But
am I wrong though? Like,
if we take it for the context of what you're saying, that he's only saying it for the future that they want, then absolutely. But at the same time, if none of us want it, and it could be a loud minority situation, I could be part of the loud minority situation. Okay. If the majority of us don't want it though, then we shouldn't be. We need to keep buying physical. I'm gonna let you continue. I'm not ready to rant yet. I want you to continue.
Oh no. Yeah, well, you could rant when you're ready. I think the majority is with you. The response to continue the story, essentially, he said this. I do think his words were taken a little out of context because he wasn't saying this is what we should do. He's saying if we want to get to point B, which is streaming video games, we need to start at point A, which is gamers getting comfortable not owning the games. you can't get to point B without point A. That's not saying point A is going to happen, but you can't have one without the other. But obviously gamers didn't take that very well. It trended on Twitter for a while. People were saying, things like, okay, well then Ubisoft needs to get comfortable with like me not buying their games, or Ubisoft needs to get comfortable with not making any games, or not making any money, things like that. So I think the shared sentiment is that Ubisoft overstepped here, and that people are not ready to stop owning games physically. And I think that's I think it is an interesting debate, right? And I thought about it a lot today and a lot about it yesterday, because I know you are a very passionate person who's very pro physical media. Whereas I'm someone who's more in the middle. I do own most of my favorite games physically. Yeah, okay, right. You buy pretty much every game you play physically, whereas
if possible.
I like look here at like, which I'm looking to where my games are, and I'm not going to show you because that would take a lot of work. It's a stack about this tall. And that doesn't include like my old school GameCube games or what that, but that's like PS4, PS5, and Switch is like this tall. So I buy the games I really care about and I'm really passionate about, but I do also buy digital media as well. But I was contemplating and thinking, why are we so okay? Not because I've never once in my life felt like I feel really bad about not owning DVDs anymore, or really bad about not owning CDs anymore. Why are we so okay with streaming DVDs and our TV shows and paying money to Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus and Spotify and Apple Music, but not video games?
I have an answer, but I'll let you continue.
Well, so this is the answer I came up with, and this may not be your answer, and so you can share it too. I think it has to do with a couple things. I think it has to do with time investment, and it has to do with ease of access, right? So let's say I want to watch a movie. Let's say I want to watch, like, The Mummy, my favorite movie. I have never worried that I'm never going to have access to that movie again. I know some streaming platform out there is going to have it. Either I already own that streaming platform, or I can get like a 7-day free trial whenever I want, right? Worst case scenario, I go to Amazon Prime and I pay them $2 to watch the movie, right? With games, that's not the mentality, right? If Nintendo comes out with a new console, they're not going to bring everything over to that new console. I mean, how often in this podcast do I complain about the fact that Wind Waker has not been brought over to the Switch yet, and I can't play it on the Switch? And of course, right now, I have the alternative of saying, well, if I really wanted to play Wind Waker, I have a friend who owns a Wii U, or I can like go get one, or I can I can find the physical media of Wind Waker if I really wanted to and play it. I could even pull out my GameCube, right? If games are not physical at all, if they're only digital, I don't have that option. And Nintendo is not going to bring every game they've ever made over in the future. So if at some point, whatever you're playing on, like, whatever online store, like, take the Animal Crossing expansion, the Happy Paradise Designer or whatever. I play that pretty regularly. One day when Nintendo decides that the Switch store has served its purpose, or like the online service has served its purpose, and it shuts it down, I'm going to lose that forever. And I don't think there is a physical form of that game for me to go out and buy to continue playing.
So you hit the nail on the head when it came to ease of access. So when I tell you about Happy Home Designer, and I think DLC is a good place to start. DLC, specifically Nintendo, you really won't have this problem like on PlayStation or Xbox if you buy it and keep it downloaded. But yeah, that DLC, if you were to not go through Nintendo Switch Online for that DLC, and you just purchased the DLC outright and you kept it downloaded on your Switch, then you won't have to worry about losing out on it. It will stay on your Switch, right? No big deal. Okay. But obviously, not the purpose overall. There is an argument to be made, though, about ease of access, because you said it yourself. Nintendo's not going to bring everything over. Not everybody's going to bring everything over. Let's say you want to play Wind Waker HD specifically, okay? You have to find a Wii right now in this current. You have three options. or you have two options. One, you find a GameCube or a Wii. Let's go the Wii route because it's cheaper. Okay, you get a Wii for about $30 to $50. Okay, but then you have to find a copy of Wind Waker on the GameCube, which luckily you have. You already have it physically. That's your cheapest option. I don't own Wind Waker physically at all. Shockingly, after playing it.
That is crazy to me.
Well,
how did you play it originally?
We're not going to get into that.
Okay.
But
for the man who purchases all of his games physically.
Well, I played it originally in 2020 with you on the stream.
Why didn't you purchase it physically though?
I'm about to tell you why. Back then it was more expensive. Back in 2020 it was more expensive. It's come down about half, but still, a copy of Wind Waker in the box is $75 for Wind Waker. Yeah. Okay.
And that doesn't even include like the hardware to play it on.
Yeah. Now I went the Wii route because a Wii is thankfully relatively cheap. But on top of owning the Wii, you also need a GameCube controller and you need a GameCube memory card.
SD card, yeah. Or memory card.
There's a couple things you need. Now, let's go the Wii U route. A Wii U, looking at a Wii U right now, a Wii U is about $100, $85 to $100 going online. Oh, that's cheaper than it was.
Didn't have any good games.
That's actually relatively cheap. Most good systems will still go for over $200. Okay, so you don't have to worry about memory cards or anything with that. Right. Wind Waker Wii U. Wind Waker on the Wii U. It's about $55. It's still costly though. You know, you're having to
buy. Your argument here is still though
costly.
Physical media is expensive.
Right.
Right?
Physical media is expensive. But here's the overlying issue though. Is that we need physical media and we need to keep pushing physical media because if we have a digital version, that digital version goes bye-bye. The only way to play is the physical media, right? You don't have a Wii U. You don't have Wind Waker for Wii U. You have a way to play it currently, but if you want to play the definitive way to play it, you have to shell out a whole bunch of cash, which is unfortunate. Yeah. Now that's why I'm a big shill for emulation. But we'll go into the issues with that. Further talking, though, about... I can't remember the exact percentage. I'm going to lowball it, even though I know it's much higher. I think only about... I think we're missing 75% of games. According to the Video Game History Museum.
What do you mean? Like games that haven't been like ported or...
Yeah, we don't have access to them. Whether physical media is just very sparse or whatever it is, we're missing like 75%. I think it's much higher. And we can actually even go back to the Wii U. There are some games, and even the 3DS. There were games that were released on the Wii U and the 3DS, only digitally on those consoles. Okay? They shut down those shops officially in 2023, March of 2023. When you shut those down, you can no longer get those games again because there was no physical version of it. They're gone into the ether. Yeah. Unless those companies, which most of the time were smaller companies and only could afford to release it digitally, which I'm never going to shame mom and pop shops. Ubisoft, I will shame. But besides the point, they are going to, they're not going to necessarily push that out to another system just to keep their game alive. That may have not sold well before, or even if it did sell well, they're working on other things. Indie developers don't have the resources that an Ubisoft have.
To keep doing that.
Right. Now, here's the thing with Ubisoft, EA, Activision, all these bigger corporations. They absolutely want to move to an all-digital future. I call by the PS6 and whatever the next Xbox is, not the next Nintendo console because that's so close. I think we got one more Nintendo life cycle before they go all digital.
I don't think the PS6 will be all digital. It's a little too soon for that.
I think it will. But
I think that's an extremist view. I mean, look, one man said you should consider not owning your games, and the entirety of the internet lost their minds and said we will boycott Ubisoft for this. I don't think, especially because they cost $100 more, I don't think PlayStation is going to alienate that many buyers.
They're trying.
This soon.
I don't think we're going to all streaming. But I think we're going to go to all digital download or streaming.
Yeah, see, I still think it's too soon for that. I think eventually, I think we're working that way, but I don't think it's that soon. It's like the gaming industry has not adapted to that quickly enough. People still, I mean, like, think about it. Even like the bigger games are like Alan Wake 2 or Resident Evil, they still, or even Baldur's Gate 3, they still do these big collector's editions for the physical games upon release that like people spend $300+ on to get like all these collectible things that come with the physical game.
Yeah.
There's still like a huge proponent of like collecting and owning that I don't think is going to be phased out.
Ask me about God of War. Ask me about God of War Ragnarok's collector's edition, Em.
Oh, tell me about God of War Ragnarok's collector's edition.
Yeah, you got all the fun statues and all that. You got a digital download code.
That's fair enough. But like, I still don't think it's going to be by the PS6. I think, especially with the way the fans are, that it's not going to go that way.
My biggest fear overall is that once we go digital, the means of preserving media is going to be much harder. We can look at, if you look at DVDs and CDs, you don't need specialty hardware to play those things. Most Blu-ray players will play DVDs. Oh, you don't have a Blu-ray player? Like you said, you can pretty much stream it anywhere. It's not like it's a one-size-fits-all. But if I'm looking at this PlayStation 3 exclusive, Infamous. Actually, pause real quick. I need to correct myself. Last week I said that Infamous was an Insomniac game. It's not. It's a Sucker Punch game, and I caught myself as I was editing. I am so sorry. I'm an idiot.
I didn't even notice. The
Ghost of Tsushima people made Infamous, not the Spider-Man Ratchet and Clank people. So sorry. Anywho, but now I've lost train of thought. Oh, yeah. If I want to play Infamous PS3, specifically I'm pointing to the PS3 because there's no good PS3 emulators out there, and the PS5 and PS4 can't emulate PS3. I have to play it on a PS3. There's no other way unless it's ported. And those game companies are not going to put in the money to port things over or make things just work, because they don't have the money or the research. The biggest lie in gaming history ever is that these companies don't have money to do these things, which is bull, but I digress.
I think, though, we're towing into a different argument, which is essentially that digital or physical, unless gaming companies port every game in their inventory with each new generation, games are going to get lost to time or become harder to attain. Yeah. I mean, think before, the 1,000-Year Door remake was announced. If you wanted to play Paper Mario in the 1,000-Year Door, I had to get it for a Christmas present one year, and it cost like $90 for me to get this Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door.
That's how much mine cost. Oh, you got player's choice. Oh, I'm so sorry.
So fancy.
I don't like the yellow border. That's a physical shill in me. Ignore me. It's mine?
But it's
I can't say anything. Mine's player's choice. Oops.
I mean, that feels less. I mean, I think the argument you're making more is less, digital versus physical, and more that unless game companies continue to port every game, we're going to lose them to time. I think I had a friend the other day who wants me to play all the Dragon Age games. And I was like, yeah, I'm cool with doing that. But like Dragon Age 2, do they have that on PS4 and PS5? And she's like, no, you have to have like a PS3. And I don't own a PS3. Okay, so how am I going to play Dragon Age 2? And so it's just, I don't necessarily think that this is a digital versus physical. I do think it's more prominent with digital only because you have that extra factor of like, if the Nintendo closes the shop. I mean, like, what would you do tomorrow if Steam money and just ended it all? Like, if they just stopped their service, like, what would happen to everything you owned in the service and all those indie games? So I think there is a higher risk to digital media, but I also, to give like a positive point to digital media, because I know we don't have a lot of those, and I know we have a lot of strong feelings towards physical. I will say that I think non-physical media, and this can extend to beyond video games and like subscription services, I think they can really have a benefit. And I think the benefit is, instead of investing $60 in one game, I think you get a wider access of content and you can try new things. And I think you feel less at risk to try new things. Like if I go to the store and I'm going to buy a video game, right? I'm going to pick the video game I know I'm going to like versus like, oh, this looks interesting. I'm not going to pay $60 for a game I don't know I'm going to like, right? But if it's streaming, if I'm paying, I think Xbox Game Pass is a pretty good example. People are like, oh, well, it's on Xbox Game Pass. Like, you have that, right? Just try it then, because you can try it. I mean, theoretically, you're paying money for the Game Pass, but, like, when you think about it, you're like, oh, I get it for free because I'm already paying for the Game Pass. There's been a lot of, I have a service called Everand, which, as much as I love to collect and own books, like, right, I'm a very physical, I like to collect different editions of books. I think I have, like, 5 editions of some Jane Austen books. Everand has been really nice because I pay a certain amount of money each month and I get a lot of books. And books that I don't have to pay for or like feel like I'm investing time and money into, whereas like I can go to Everand and I can read it really quickly and I'd be like, oh, that was a nice book. It's not a book I feel like I have to invest money in to own and put on my bookshelf and then 5 years from now get rid of. And so I think there is a benefit to that, and that you feel more free to try different things and there's different things available to you. Things that you necessarily wouldn't feel the need to invest money in or like play 10 years down the road. I think I've tried a lot of games here and there that I've been like, I never need to play that again. But, if we're talking Ghost of Tsushima, of course I want to own that physically so I can continue to play that however many years from now.
So I will agree on the streaming aspect only. I think Xbox has streaming right. I'm going to start right there. I think Xbox is the only company right now that has streaming correct, because I've not really had an issue with any other streaming. When I had Game Pass for a little while, I did. Streaming worked great. No issues. As much as I shit on Xbox, Game Pass works. I can't deny it. Game Pass works really
well. It is a good system.
Yeah, it works very, very well. And I like the try it before you buy it method. However, it doesn't really work the same in the buying digital sense. I think with Steam, you have 2 hours after you start it to return it, which is not enough time. It's not enough time to know if you're going to like a game most of the time. The amount of times I restarted Persona 5 before I really got it, like really stuck through it, and then like, oh, actually, this is good. No, there was no way. And the same can go for PlayStation and Xbox and Switch. There's no really good return method. I will agree with your argument on the streaming side.
Well, like, I guess my argument is there's some games I don't need to own, right? Like, if I borrow a game from a friend, like, right, you gave me 13 Sentinels. I haven't played it yet. I might love that game, and I might... Shut up. I was actually getting ready to play it the other day, pull it out and play it. It's next on my list.
That Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. I'd probably start with 13 Sentinels, but that's a game where you gave that to me and I could play it and I could love it and be like, okay, well, I love this game. I'm going to go put money into owning it myself so I can replay it. Like, that was an okay time, or I hated it and then give it back to you and never own it. But like, I didn't invest money into. There are certain games that you can enjoy playing. And even if you liked playing that game, and be like, I don't need to own that game. Like, it was a nice time, but I can move on. I froze, didn't I?
Yeah, but we caught it. And here's the thing. That's another point for physical media, though, that you're unintentionally thinking about. Because you're right. With physical media, you can just, if someone else has it, and you want to try it before you buy it, instead of paying money into a subscription service altogether, you just borrow it.
Yeah, but you don't have somebody who owns it, or you have to borrow the entire console along with the game. Like, if I wanted to play Wind Waker right now, I would have to go find someone who also had a Wii U and was willing to loan me a Wii U. Whereas, like, are you talking?
No.
Oh, maybe I'm just really behind on the stream. It looked like you were talking. But like I would have to find someone who had both of those things to borrow, and that person would have had to invest a lot of time. Like, I can't tell you how many times I go through my books. Like every time I move, I go through my books because I own so many books. Where I like get rid of books, and I like get rid of a pretty good chunk of them. And even though I maybe enjoyed the book, I just don't think you always need to spend the money on it. Like, and sometimes you don't have somebody else who has that game. Sometimes you can just enjoy something and say like, this was nice, but like, I don't need to do it again. Like, there's a lot of shows that I watch on Netflix where I'm like, oh, that was a fun time. I enjoyed that, but I think if it was gone tomorrow, I'd be okay because I watched it, I got my enjoyment out of it, and I moved on. I don't have this, like, thing where I have to own every game I've played or liked. I, like, have the really good ones.
So, I'm going to say this, and this is more of a comment on things you can do to combat somewhat. Did you guys know, support your local libraries, you can rent video games from your libraries. You can rent physical games from your libraries. So,
can you rent the consoles?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I've never had to try. I think that's the next problem. It's not like Blockbuster, though. I think, though, with the console argument is you're going to have to get, you're right. You're going to have to get lucky. You're not going to buy a console for one singular game, right? And I don't think that makes sense. But once again, say Nintendo, they would have to want to put in and they're not going to. Nintendo of all people is not going to put in the resources to port Wind Waker for the Wii U onto the Switch via a streaming service or via digital download only. So,
I think you're forgetting though in this whole debate in conversation a big element, and that is convenience, right? If you have and I'm not saying there's a lot of collectors out there. You're a collector. You like to have things, but like, and this is something I'll admit. During COVID, when Animal Crossing came out, I had pre-ordered one. I had pre-ordered a copy of Animal Crossing for GameStop, but I actually did not want to go get in my car and go to GameStop to get it because it was in the middle of COVID. So I just went and bought it digitally. And I bought the game twice because I wanted it digitally because I didn't want to have to go. Like, you're saying, yes, your library has games, and that's great, and I love that. I love libraries. But what you're asking is that person to go get in their car, go to the library, find out if they have the game they want, find out if they have the console. If they don't, they have to find another way to get the console, and then bring that all back to their house and set it up, when alternatively, they could go to the PlayStation store. I mean, it's kind of the equivalent of telling someone, you could go on Netflix right now and find this movie, or you can go find a Blockbuster out in the wild and hope they have the movie and nobody else has rented the movie, and then drive home.
Here's the thing with convenience, though. It's only convenient for so long. Because that kind of brings me to one last big point on my end. If you buy the game digitally for convenience, and Nintendo just decides to get rid of it completely, and this is once again going back, you don't own that game. That game is not yours anymore. Animal Crossing, you own it. At some point, your Switch might break. You have a physical copy of Animal Crossing. Nintendo Switch Online will shut down. That digital copy will be gone forever because you don't technically own it. You own a license to play it and download it for as long as they give it to you. As long as you own
I downloaded, it won't be gone.
Huh?
If I have it downloaded on my Switch, even if they remove the store. Your
SD card corrupted. Your hard drive corrupted.
Some confusion from people about that, but like if you have a game downloaded on whatever system you have it downloaded on, even if the store is gone, it will remain on your device or console or whatever.
But your hard drive corrupted, or your SD card corrupted, and this is coming from personal experience. This is I would be a digital shill right now, because whenever the Netflix train, all the DVD things were going away, I was on board. When I was young. I don't remember the exact year, but Scott Pilgrim vs. the World video game came out. I spent $20 on it. I think it was a few months. It had been out for a while. I bought it late, and a few months went by, and my hard drive on my PS3 did corrupt. And I was too stupid to know how to fix it myself. So I sent it to play. I paid like this is when I paid like $200 to PlayStation to fix my PS3. I regret that. Like, I could have figured that out. It takes 2 seconds to fix a PS3 hard drive. Regardless, the same issue would have happened. That game was delisted.
And you couldn't get it back.
No, it was just gone forever. And it now here's a weird tidbit. I was going through my PlayStation 3 downloaded, and there was a launcher to download the game, but it didn't work. So it still shows that I had some way to purchase it, but I couldn't do anything with it. Yeah, and it's that version's gone forever. And that is what terrifies me, is if I'm going to spend my hard-earned money to play something and I play it and I want to own it. I want it to be mine, and I can touch it and put it in my console and do whatever I want with it whenever I want with it at any given point in time. And I know that's not feasible forever, because even in the age of PS4 and PS5, half the games are downloaded anyways. It's not all on the disc anymore anyways. But at the same, it's just a scary thought that I don't own these things, and might not be able to play them again. Yeah?
Agree with that. I mean, like, I definitely think there's certain benefits to both physical, like, you know, like digital. Again, I think it has a convenience factor. I mean, for example, Ghost of Tsushima, a game I played and loved and then recommended to you, who played it and loved it. The only reason I played that game was because I was in my home and I was bored and I didn't have anything to play, and I went to the store and I saw it and I was like, oh, that looks interesting, paid for it digitally and downloaded it. Right? I don't think that I would have had that experience if I had gone to Target and wandered through and was like, okay, what can I find? Or maybe I would have. I think at the end of the day, the ultimate discussion is not about digital versus physical. It's about the rights of ownership, right? You know, because even if you're buying digital media, there is still a way to protect the owners of that media. There's still a way, like, to say you paid for this digitally and it's yours. The problem is that a lot of times companies don't have those rules. They don't have that level. And I think if we're going to go more toward digital media, I think there are certain ownership protections that need to be put in place, or there needs to be some kind of adjustment there. I am a big proponent of physical media. I still buy games I love physically because I don't ever want to lose them. Some games, yeah, I'd be okay if they were like, we got rid of this one. I'd be like, yeah, whatever, okay. But I think there needs to be a level of protections in place to be like, this is how the system is going to work. And we can't just, you know, I saw some people on Twitter arguing this point, and they were like, you know, if you have to decide if you're paying for the right of access or for the right of ownership. If you're paying for the right of access, either that price should be lower, or if you're paying for the right of ownership, if they remove it digitally, there should be a way they have to, like, provide it to you physically, whether they send you it like a download file somewhere, or like there has to be a way for like that level to be protected. They can't just say, okay, you bought this, you own it, and then delete it from existence, right? So I think at the end of the day, we're going to move forward with this regardless. I think digital media is going to continue to be more popular. I think streaming games is going to continue to be more popular. I don't know if physical media will ever die out. I mean, look at bookstores. People, when the Nook and the Kindle came out 15, 20 years ago, everyone was like, oh, it's done for the bookstores. And physical books are gone. And yeah, a lot of it did dwindle down, and a lot of bookstores had to close. But I think a lot of bookstores have remained open, and people are still buying physical books because they love physical books. And I think that's going to be the trend with games. I think digital is going to be more popular, but I don't think it's going to quite eliminate physical media the way people think it's going to.
I think I wish I could be as optimistic, but because I've seen the darker sides of this industry and what they've done to me and my boy on PS3, I'm just frightened. I'm hopeful, but frightened. I will say this one thing to mention too, and you said lowering cost, and I think that is an important note. I think the market in digital media, and I hate talking about the market because the market's a made up thing, but that's an argument for another time. I think the market for a digital media should match the physical media market, because while the game is still relatively new on a platform, let's talk about like Spider-Man 2. Right now, physically new, it's $60, and digitally new, it's $60. Or sorry, they're both 70, right? That makes sense. It's very new. in about a year's time, physically, it's probably going to go down to $30, 40 to $30, maybe even lower. That digital copy is still going to be $70, right? Most of the time, yes. So PlayStation does have sales.
They do have digital sales.
Yes, they do have sales, but that's if it's only on sale.
Okay.
Where physical media just drops. And on top of that, of course, I can get a used copy for even cheaper at that point. I think I bought...
Also, the argument, I mean, like the alternative argument, which is that the price will go up once it gets old enough, right?
Right. And you know why that price goes up? Because it's... What?
It's a collector's edition. It's harder to find. It's older.
Oh, not because it's a collector's edition, but if we go into the non-collector's edition, I have a great example for that, right? Your favorite game, Danganronpa V3 for the PlayStation Vita. We're specifically talking V3 for the Vita, because that game on Vita was delisted very quickly. There were physical copies out there. Before it was delisted, the game was probably about $30 to own physically. The game delisted, that game is now over $200.
Like rarity, it's scarcity, it's supply and demand. Like, right? Like there's fewer of it, so of course the prices are gonna go up.
Exactly. Which that's why things do eventually go up. Now, do I think digital should ever, because the physical scarcity has gone up, the digital, no, because it's not a physical medium, it's not rare, it's a download, it's data that you're pushing out, right?
But like your argument also is kind of an argument for digital media, because if the game hadn't been delisted, you could continue to have constant access to the game and the price for the physical would not have skyrocketed. So in a way, having the digital media keeps prices of the physical media down.
No, because before we didn't have digital media and those things stayed down without it.
Sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
I said no, because the prices of those things stayed down before we had digital media of it. If you go back to the PlayStation 2 era, it didn't rely, because everything was physical, it did not rely on a digital age. I didn't have to worry about Sly 2 delisting because it couldn't. It was physical only because it was a PS2 game.
Once you reach a certain point, those games still become worth more money. Like if I want to buy Ocarina of Time on the N64 physically, that's going to be more money, right?
I don't think Ocarina of Time on N64 is that expensive. I think it might be like $30.
Maybe, but like there was a time, like we have a used game store here where I would go and any N64 game would be like $60 to $70 in that case.
That's because they were screwing you.
No, I've seen many like that. I think a lot of times there is, and a monetary value on older, and at this point retro games. There just is an intrinsic value on something that is older and something that's considered classic. So I don't think it's necessarily like we have less value, we have less of this. It just becomes older, it becomes harder to get, and I think, now especially that they had a remake, that it's been ported to multiple consoles, that you can play it now on Switch, I think that lowers the value of the physical. I mean, I went out and bought an N64 and the Ocarina of Time because I wanted to play Ocarina of Time. And then 6 months later, they brought it to the Switch. And I was like, oh, what a waste of money. I could have just played this on the Switch.
So all right, here's my thing. I just had a thought. It's gone. My brain is mush. Please bear with me. I've been sick the past few days. God, I had a thought.
It's okay. It will come back to you.
I'm hoping, because it's now just gone. But we talked.
Talking, maybe it'll come back to you.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Okay, go.
A big part of price spiking too, because if we go back 5 years, let's go back to 2018, 2017, 2018, 2019 even.
Okay.
Used retro game prices were not that high. Not even close. Boom. COVID happened. Okay. Boom. Everyone's bored. Boom. The resellers be reselling like crazy because they suck.
Yeah.
The reseller market, and this is my second thing where I will give points to digital media because resellers can't touch it. The resellers ruined everything. the resellers are the reason that old games have become so expensive. Like it's not even a question. And if anyone tries to argue that point, you're either a reseller yourself and are trying to make your save face, or you're just blind. You're being blinded by it. All these people are scrounging up. Let's take Ocarina of Time. They found 50 copies of Ocarina of Time they bought for $20 a piece. You know, they own that part of that now, and they can jack up the price to $40 from 20, right? I mean, there's thousands of copies of Ocarina of Time. I don't think 50 copies is going to do that much, but you get what I'm saying.
What you're saying, and I think you're right. I think that is an argument for digital. I guess my main thing is I don't think digital is bad, and I think in some ways, we talked about how one of the problems of doing streaming and owning digitally is the ease of access, because if they don't port it over and you don't own it physically, like, you're going to have to go out and find it physically, or you could lose access to it completely. But I also think in some ways it creates more access. Like I said, I didn't own the N64. We lost our N64 at some point in time, and I had to go out and buy it again. But one day Nintendo just uploaded it to the Switch, and then I had it instantly, right? And there's a lot of games that I just have instantly now on my N64. And I'm not saying it's kind of a when your parent says something like, I brought you into this world and I can take you out of it just as quickly. It's kind of like that. He giveth and he taketh away, right? Nintendo could just drop the Zelda N64 Ocarina of Time on my Switch, but they could also just as quickly remove it. So I think it is kind of a double-edged sword where it does create more access to more games, but it can also at some point, once it dies, lose games.
Yeah, which is where my tinfoil hat, this is my most I don't trust the corporation's agenda to take my money. That's a terrible Alex Jones impression. Please ignore me. But I don't trust corporations enough. I don't think they have our best interests in mind. I think they're in the interest of making money. So if they have if I don't own what I purchase from them and they can just take it away. I just don't trust it. I don't think they're going to hold up to that promise forever. I have another point.
What's the promise?
I mean, the promise of access, or moving it to where I continuously have access.
I don't think that's the thing, though. I don't think at any point there has been a promise made. I don't think Nintendo has ever looked me in the eye and said, okay, we've ported Ocarina of Time to the Switch, so you will have access to it forever. They've not. In fact, they've done the opposite. They have closed old stores as time went on and the consoles became unused. I think the promise, and I guess when you say promise, I guess I should mean put it in a law for protections. I think that's what needs to happen. I think there needs to be a promise. I think there needs to be a law put in place. Right now, there is no such promise. I pay for Nintendo Online and the expansion pack and the Animal Crossing DLC and all that comes with it. And when I purchased that, I did so with the understanding that I did not own the content. I was paying Nintendo,
which is different,
a yearly fee to have access to the content, which includes the ported version of Ocarina of Time, because that's just part of the N64 emulator on the Switch.
Right.
So yes, I have access to that, but at any point of time, that access could be gone.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the laws, and let's not talk subscriptions. Let's just talk physical media. And we're talking about the laws in the sense that once you buy it, you own it, you get access to it no matter what. If we focus on those laws, the only argument that's going to come up that's going to turn it all down and make it get away, make sure that law does not pass, is who's going to pay for the server space, because those games still have to be uploaded to a server and have to be accessed through a server via the internet, and those servers cost money. And as much as I hate to quote him, because he's so wrong, and this is another thing, this happened years ago when the PS5 first launched, and it pissed everyone off, just like this one pissed off everyone off. Jim Ryan himself said, "Who wants to play those old games anyways?" Oh, I clicked something. And it's a lot of people do. a lot of people want to go back. I like going back to my I played the PS3 versions, but yeah, PS3. I hate that that's retro now. I hate that that's in the retro realm. I like going back to my PS3 and playing the Sly Cooper collection, playing all three of them.
And I have Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, Zelda the Wind Waker, Skyward Sword. I have literally sitting right next to me the Ocarina of Time 2-disc set with the Master Quest in it, and this sits next to me all day.
I was actually going to bring this up, and this might make you a little upset. Yeah, it might make you a little upset that you don't have Wind Waker on Switch more. You can play You could have played Ocarina of Time on every single Nintendo console since the N64.
Yeah, because you had it on the GameCube and the Master Quest. The Wii had the emulated one from the shop that you could get.
Same with the Wii U because it was the same emulated shop.
Yeah. And then they did the remake for the 3DS.
The only thing they did for Wind Waker, I guess you can say you had it on the Wii because of backwards compatibility. And you had it on the Wii U because of the remake. And they said, screw you, Switch, you're gone. Even Twilight Princess.
No, it's not.
There was two ways to play it on Twilight Princess on the Wii U because Wii U was backwards compatible with Wii. But Twilight... I did
hear rumors that somebody said they were going to release the Wind Waker Twilight Princess port if Tears of the Kingdom had not been running in time. I also heard somebody say they were saving it for Switch 2, which we talked about this some time ago where I said if the Switch 2 came out tomorrow or next year, I probably wouldn't buy it because it would have nothing to offer me, right? There's not going to be a new Animal Crossing game coming up. There's not going to be a new Zelda game coming up.
Emily doesn't trying new things.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay $400 for a brand new console for the chance to try a different game that I've never played before. But if they announced it and they're like, Switch 2, get your Twilight Princess and Wind Waker ports, I'd be first in line, man.
Okay, now here's an interesting thing. I actually thought about this. We're done with the talk. Before we go an after party, I think we've spoken our piece on digital physical media.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up real quick.
Yeah.
And last thoughts. I just want to say, I think I was a big defender of digital media, mostly because you're a big defender of physical media. I think both have their benefits. I think both create different ways of access, in different forms and at different times. And I think they both help people play video games, and I think they're both great. I think the problem comes in with not enough protections and not enough essentially saying we're going to take this away from you at some point. There either needs to be that they won't take it away, or there needs to be an understanding that you are only paying for access to the game. I froze again. I know I did, but
we caught it all. We both came to the same conclusion, and everybody say it with me now: greedy corporations being greedy corporations. Thank you, everybody. That's I understand digital media, and I think digital media has the potential to be good. But given how money runs everything, it right now is not in a place. It doesn't have a place until there's an understanding that, I spent that money. It's now mine. You don't get to just take it away from me.
That's such an interesting thing, though, and it's not that I don't agree with you, because I literally just said I do, and that's my point.
Yeah.
It's interesting, though, that we didn't have any of those contingencies when it came to, music or movies or TV shows or anything like that. They can be removed at any point. We don't own them. We've invested all this money into them.
I think, but once again, it's so easy to get a movie in any way. It's removed from Netflix, like you said. It's on Amazon. Or yar har har, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum. I can be running a 2008 Windows Vista laptop and still get a copy of The Mummy pretty easily through it.
I think there's something to be said for the fact that, if I want to play a video game, I have to own that specific console and play it through that specific console. Whereas if I want to watch a movie, right, I can go on my smart TV and watch it, or I can go on my laptop and watch it, or I can go on a tablet and watch it, or I could open up my and watch it on my freaking PlayStation. There's no special kind of equipment that you have to have. So I think it's in terms like the investment, like you pay for the equipment on top of paying for the product.
I will also say this. I have no problem with streaming, but you cannot make it the norm. Do not make streaming video games the norm. That is a dark path you don't want to go down.
I agree.
Yeah, I think streaming will be. I think one thing we mentioned when it comes to access to it is a cheaper alternative for a lot of people who just can't afford to pay $70 for a brand new game. I think once again, streaming is fine, but do not make it the norm. It's something you'll never get back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Cool. On that note, we're going to After Party. Em has to make me new templates for thumbnails for YouTube for After Party because we didn't do that last time. That's the last bit of I Call Yoshi you'll ever see.
Whew. Gotta get rid of those.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.